and I want to welcome everybody to the Orlando Sentinel's editorial board interview, focusing on Lake Mary City Commission Seat 2. This features challenger Kristina Renteria. She's a local accountant and civic activist who will be squaring off against George Duryea. He is a contender for the title of the longest-serving public officials in Central Florida, having first been elected to the City Commission in 1987. We were in touch with the commissioner, but he will not be appearing today. So our challenger will have the floor. We are going to dive straight into questions from our board members. Please keep your answers, as we discussed, to about 90 seconds. That'll let us get through as many issues as possible. And I'm going to go straight into our questions. The first one is based on our recent Toxic Secrets water series. Lake Mary's water utility benefited from an agreement that secured a highly advanced water treatment plant for the city. What more, if anything, should the city be doing to ensure the safety of its drinking water?
Well, okay, first of all, Lake Mary lacks transparency, and the city of Lake Mary wants change. The city of Lake Mary wants to know what's in our water supply. The city of Lake Mary wants aggressive water testing, and they want the results of the test included in our water bill. When I get my water bill, I want to know what's in it. And even though dioxin is not required, the city of Lake Mary wants it to be included and being told what the levels are monthly. As far as your question of the new plant, as of many residents of Lake Mary, we're still on bottled water. I am not able to drink water out of my refrigerator fountain because I choke. And the water that is coming out of my shower is irritating my skin. That's today, okay? So I just thank you. Well, first of all, I have to say thank you for your report, because that brought awareness and what's going on and how to manage our households. And because of it, I just got my charcoal water filter last week. And I am hoping that will at least eliminate some of whatever is going on. But right now, the new water plant is not resolving the issue, at least not for some of the residents that I've been talking to. We're still on bottled water.
Yes,
Chris, I'd like to ask a follow-up question. Kristina, are you on well water, or are you on the city of Lake Mary water?
No, I'm on the city of Lake Mary water. And these problems have been since the new plant started, that whatever it is, I'm not a chemist, I'm not an engineer. All I know is that I'm not able to drink the water out of my refrigerator door. And I've been having skin irritation since this took place. So, and as I said, I got my water filter just last week, and that is a little bit better as far as skin irritation. I don't trust that the water, that I'm getting is drinkable. So I'm still on water, on bottled water, and there's many residents that feel the same way. They're still on bottled water.
I also have a follow-up. You had mentioned transparency.
Yes.
What's your assessment of the city's website in terms of transparency and information that's available to residents?
Okay, well, the only thing that they have is that the annual water quality report that they are required to put together annually. And that report As I said, we need the water testing results included in our water bill monthly. I get my water bill. I want to know what's in my water. And that report only contains the items that are regulated. The unregulated contaminants, such as dioxin, are not included in the report. So how does that help? That again, I have to say that it's still Lake Mary lacks transparency, and that's what the city of Lake Mary wants. We need to create a commission for water safety. We do need to request funding from the Department of Environmental Protection and the Health Department, because every resident should have a water filter. Everybody should have access to cancer screening. That's yeah. 30 seconds. Yeah.
I had a general question. I'm just curious, have you and your opponent done any debates or forums together yet?
No, as you see, they've been absent. None of the elected officials in Lake Mary have attended any of your seminars regarding the toxic secret. They did send Scott Rankin, which is obviously the plant operator. But as far as an answer from City Hall, we have not had any.
Okay.
And again, transparency. We continue with the transparency issue that we're getting none. Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me for interrupting you there. The other question I just had is, if I'm not mistaken, this is not your first run for the Lake Mary Commission. I think you did it 2 years ago. You made an effort, and I was just sort of curious, if you weren't successful, then what prompted you to want to try again?
Well, back then, obviously, I knew we had a transparency issue, but the transparency was more related to COVID funding. Because again, there were other issues about transparency, but I certainly was not aware of the water issue. And right now I'm just totally, really very upset, as well as many other residents, because I've been drinking contaminated water for 7 years. And many residents don't appreciate the fact that there hasn't been any transparency.
Okay.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Right.
I have a quick question to follow up, changing gears just a little bit. In terms of Lake Mary and growth and that sort of thing, what is your opinion on the possibility of annexation over west of I-4, sort of in the Markham Woods area? Do you have an opinion on whether that should go forward, or what should happen there?
Yeah, actually, there should be annexation. We should revise the corporate limits, and annexation not only for the Markham Woods, but also the area east of Lake Emma. I don't know why the west side would be City of Lake Mary and the east side wouldn't be City of Lake Mary. To me, it's total manipulation. But yeah, I would definitely support annexation. You're either Lake Mary or you're not Lake Mary. There is no such thing as an incorporated Lake Mary. I mean, so you might be something else. You want to be Heathrow. You don't want to be within the city. Okay, you can be Heathrow. But if you're Lake Mary, you're Lake Mary. Some people are very upset also that are Lake Mary, but they're not eligible voters. They're not within the city limits because they're unincorporated Lake Mary. That's
I was
nonsense.
very surprised when I looked at the map that Target and the other places were not in the city. But that brings up another question, which is that the city is regarded as pretty much built out, but growth continues to be an issue and a point of contention, especially redevelopment. What's your opinion of how the commission is resolving those conflicts, particularly when it comes to infill and redevelopment?
Well, my personal opinion is that we should have controlled development. And what that means to me is that Lake Mary Boulevard is already overcrowded, too much traffic. And, if development continues, we could possibly limit the buildings to 4 stories. Before we add more to the overcrowding issue, we should figure out first how are people going to get in and out of the city. It's just definitely control development.
Other than the water issue, like when you're talking to folks generally about your priorities, what are your top 2 or 3 things that you really care about that you'd like to see happen in Lake Mary?
Yeah. Well, obviously, water safety is one. Transparency in finances, term limits, control development. We have to create a commission for water safety, funding from the Department of Environmental Protection and the Health Department, mental health issues, saving women's lives, progressive agenda. The city of Lake Mary wants change, and that's where, just have a progressive agenda in my mind right now.
Okay. If I could follow up on just one of those, you mentioned mental health. Is there anything in particular you think that Lake Mary should be doing? I know that's generally been handled by counties and really the state in the past, though not terribly well. Any ideas for what the city should be doing?
Yeah. Simply just provide access. That we had a student at Lake Mary High School that shot herself in the middle of the gym, and and she obviously didn't have any mental health access. So there should be access either through the schools or through the city, provide programs. There is, I'm not a psychologist, but it would be to be discussed with the psychologists to what else we can do for the city of Lake Mary residents.
Okay. Thank you.
I had one quick follow-up from your priorities also. You mentioned term limits. Can you be more specific about what you're looking for and why in terms of term limits?
Right. Well, as you know, we have most of the commissioners, have been there for decades. And I think it lacks representation. A lot of people, new residents in Lake Mary, are not represented in City Hall. We have a majority of the residents in Lake Mary are women, and we don't have any representation in City Hall. So I think, again, it's not only transparency, but we lack representation. And, and we have to limit the terms. It's not, you get in City Hall and you stay there for life. It's just you got to represent the people that live there, that live here. And we have new people coming in, and they also want representation in City Hall, and they're not represented.
Kind of related to that, is there something in particular that your opponent has done that caused you to run against him? Is there some reason in particular that voters should replace him?
Well, the main issue is transparency. He's been a commissioner since 1987, and I would like to ask him, what kind of filter is he using in his house, and when did he realize that he needed a filter? Because that's the same questions that people want to know. Why he's known since 1987. I would have liked to know that we had this problem when I moved to Lake Mary in 2017. And, to find out now, 7 years later, that we had a big problem. And I still, the city residents, they will have to assess what the damage has been done to, within their households. That's what it is right now.
Well, I wanted to switch gears because we are running close to our allotted time. The city's budget for the coming year reflects a bottom line increase of 13.5% over the current budget, though a lot of that is federally funded projects and capital. Do you think the city's on the right fiscal path in the way it manages its money and tax base?
All right, the city has a $53 million budget, and half of it comes from property taxes. The city currently has no debt, so even though in appearance it looks like it's okay, I mean, I'm not an insider, so I couldn't tell you more than it looks fine. But there again, there is lack of transparency, and for example, with COVID, all the funding that we got from ARPA, you know, a lot of residents would have liked input on how that money should have been spent. Right. So, I mean, the only issue right now that I have, again, is transparency, even not only with water, but with finances as well.
I wanted to follow up quickly. As I mentioned, another big source is from Seminole County's 1 cent tax, which is up for renewal next year. If you are elected to the commission, would you support renewal of that tax?
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what tax.
The 1 cent infrastructure tax
Yeah.
in Seminole County?
In Seminole County, an additional tax? What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lake Mary has the lowest tax rate in Seminole County. So if you know, if improvement needs to be made, for example, Lake Mary, we still have residents with septic tanks, and we need to move a lot of people from septic tanks to sewage, to regular sewage, city sewage systems. You know, and that all of that is going to cost money, and so if we you know, obviously we're going to see the bottom line if we can stay without increasing the tax rate, and so we'll keep it. But first of all, we have to meet the needs of the residents, and if that means that we have to raise the taxes, well, we'll do that. But we hope that we don't have to be there, because right now, there is no need to raise taxes, and you know, right now there is no need.
And I just wanted to slide in one very quick last question, unless somebody else has one. Are you satisfied with the performance of City Manager Kevin Smith? Would you vote to retain him?
You know, I'm not an insider, so I say I really don't know enough to comment.
Okay, well, did anybody else have any questions that they wanted to follow up with? Okay, well, we very much thank you for spending time with us. The Orlando Sentinel will be making an endorsement in this race. However, we always urge voters to consider that they can do their own research and look at the candidates, any information that's available on social media, and follow our coverage of this race. Then make up your own mind as to who best represents your values, and be prepared to vote on November 7th. I believe every voter in the city gets to weigh in on this. So see you on Election Day. And now we are going to invite Kristina to make a closing statement, and just make your best pitch for why voters should choose you.
Sure. Well, I just want to encourage every Lake Mary resident to vote for transparency and make sure that this toxic secret is no longer a secret. I just want to let everybody know that if you're not registered to vote, you can register to vote before October 10th. And if you want to register to vote by mail, the last day is October 26th. You can do that if you go to voteseminole.org. Also, early voting is Saturday, November 4th, 10 a.m. to 6 at the Supervisor of Elections office in Sanford. And election day is Tuesday, November 6th, 7 to 7 at City Hall, 100 North Country Club Road. So just again, ask everybody to just go and vote for transparency.